there, I'm Louie from Louie's Loops, and this is a video pattern for how to make a really tiny Millennium Falcon. So you can tell you can get it really tiny and kind of tiny. So before I get started, this video is brought to you by Club Crochet. So Club Crochet is kind of a subscription service for crocheters, and I'll explain more later on. But if you'd like to learn more right now, you can check out Club Crochet in the description below, or clubcrochet.com. But yeah, let's just get hooking, and I'll explain it more as we go on. So for the materials for this, you can tell that these are both, one's bigger than the other. That's because they're made with different kinds of yarn. I'm going to be working closer to this kind because I realize that this yarn is a little bit harder to tell what's going on. So I'm using worsted weight yarn, and this is Lily Sugar and Cream. It's 100% cotton. So I'm using this like brownish beige color. The Millennium Falcon's kind of a mix between beige and gray, so it's kind of closer to that. So if you can get closest to this, that's probably good. And whatever you use for the yarn, make sure they're very similar. You also need a little bit of dark gray. Pretty much, this is like obviously way more than we need. We only need like a string's worth, and then a little bit of a light blue for the tail pipe colors, or you know what I mean. So to get started, we're just going to be making the bottom first, because the bottom and the top are very similar. The top has a little bit more detail and some other tricks to it, but they're done in two different parts and then sewn together. So first, let's make the bottom, so you guys know what you're getting into. So to start, you can make either a slip knot, chain 2, or you can do the magic hoop method. I personally like a slip knot. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm also using a size G crochet hook. And you'll need a pair of scissors, a needle, a pencil for stuffing, and just a little bit of stuffing. This is way more than we're going to need. Alright. Yeah. If I can, there we go. So start with chain 2, or in the magic hoop. And you want to start by single crocheting 6 into the second chain from the hook, or into the magic hoop. Also, if you want to skip to specific rounds or specific parts, the entire pattern is written in the description below, along with the timestamps for where each round begins. So you can just skip to certain rounds if you'd like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this pattern is going to be worked in the round, meaning that we're just going to keep going around in a circle. Just keep going around in a circle. You don't really have to turn at all. Yeah. So for round 2, for the bottom part, you're going to do an increase in each stitch around. So first we got to get into this first stitch here. So you want to make 6 increases. And an increase, if you didn't know, is 2 single crochets into the same stitch. There we go. Okay, and so while I'm doing this, let's explain a little bit. Club Crochet is basically a subscription service for crocheters, where you get a new pattern sent to you every other week, and access to all the past week's worth of patterns. And I've been doing it since January, so the library is getting pretty big, but I still, oh, there we go, last one. I'll explain it more in a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Alright, so for round 3, you're going to want to do a single crochet in the first, and then an increase in the next. Ooh, gotta get more yarn here. And you want to repeat that process 6 times total. You want to go from 12 stitches to 18 stitches. By the way, at the end of round 2, you should have 12 stitches. So do 18 stitches. So single crochet, 1 in the first, and then an increase in the next. And we're going to keep doing that. This is going to be, that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that's going to be pretty simple, pretty basic. And the bottom part here is going to be pretty much the exact same as the top. It'll be the same basic pattern with just some subtle differences for details, because the top is a lot more detailed than the bottom. Okay, so for round 4 and the end of this, making the bottom part, we want to make the two gosh dang it, I can't hold on to it. Two like spokes that come out like that. And they're pretty easy to do. So let's do it. So start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we want to skip the first 2 chains, and we want to only work in the back loop. So if you're looking at a chain, if you didn't know this, let's get our needle so I can explain better. Chains have a bunch of different parts. So there's this loop right here. I think that's the top loop, and then the bottom loop. And then there's also a back loop right here. And you want to work into these back loops. And you want to skip the first 2 and work into the third. This one's going to be the third. These are the first 2. So we want to work into the back loop right here. Okay? So into that back loop, we want to do a single crochet. Okay? And then a half double crochet in the next. If you don't know what half double crochet is, you yarn over, go into the place where we want to make our stitch right here in this back loop, pull a loop through, and then pull a loop through all 3 on the hook right there. That's going to be a half double crochet. And now we're going to do a decrease, but we want to work into this stitch and to this stitch. So here's what I'm going to do. First go into this, the stitch that is the last stitch from round 3. Go into there and pull a loop through. Then go into the next stitch over right here and pull another loop through and pull that loop through all the loops on the hook. Okay, and that's going to like pull it over a little bit. Now make a slip stitch in the next right here. And we're going to do one more of that that spoke. So let's do it again. You chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip 2 and work into the back loops of the third chain from the hook, and single crochet 1. That one got real pointy. We'll fix that later. And then half double crochet 1. Okay, and then we'll do that same thing again. Go into this loop, okay, where you made that slip stitch. Pull 1 loop through, go into the next loop, pull another loop through, and pull that through both the ones on the hook. And then finish up by doing a slip stitch in the last right here. And we can cut it. Let's tweak it a little bit. We can cut it leaving, actually you don't really need too long of an end here. That's probably good. And just pull it through. Now I'm just going to go ahead and hide this stitch right now because I keep forgetting to do that when I make these. And I want to start remembering to get it over with, you know. So to hide these stitches, you want to go into the back of the next stitch over, like that. I threaded the needle, obviously. So go into that back, and go down into the last slip stitch right here. And I'm going to kind of like go into the body a little bit, like right there. We'll just go, boom. Okay, so that's the bottom, okay? And don't worry if it looks a little bit wonky. It's all going to get sewn together and we can tweak it then. So now let's start working on the top. Let's put this to the side. So like I said, the top is pretty much the same pattern with just some subtle differences for details. So first off, make our tail like kind of long, like, yeah, that's probably good. And do a slip knot, or you can do the magic hoop method again. And I'm gonna do chain 2, 1, 2, and do 6 single crochets into the second chain from the hook, same as the top. Beginning is very much the same. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now, for this next round, we want to only work into the, I can't remember, the back loops. The ones furthest away from you. So if you look at the top of a single crochet, let's look at this one right here. There are 2 loops. One that's closest to you, this one, and one that's furthest away from you, this one. So we only want to work into these loops, okay, for these next stitches. So, and it's going to be the same. You're going to do an increase into each stitch all the way around. But we want some color change differences. So first, let's do an increase in the first one, only working in these back loops like that. 1, 2. Okay. Now we're going to do another increase, but don't finish this increase. Do just 1. Okay, and then get the second one started. But we don't want to finish it just yet. Now we want some of our dark gray. Where is that? Where did I put it? Ah, it's behind me. Here we go. And we want to place it in between the yarn, like that. Okay? So you want to place it in between. And we want to finish our single crochet around that. Boom. And that's because we're going to do some color changes here to make it on the Millennium Falcon. There's like 6 spots on the back of it, so we want to do that, and the easiest way to do it is just to do color changes. So here's how we do it. We want the top of the loop to be this beige, but we want the bottom to be this gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it under so that the gray is on top, like that. And I want to go into our stitch where we're going to be doing our increase and pull gray through. Oops, try that again. There we go. Gray through. Don't pull it too tight. And then I want to switch it back over by going and flipping that beige color under so that it's on top, and pull through with beige. Okay? Now we want to finish up this increase by doing another stitch in that same stitch with that beige and pull through. Okay? And you want to do that 3 times with dark gray in the beginning and then beige after that. So let's try it again. Flip it over so it's gray, go into the next stitch and pull a loop through, and then flip over and switch back to gray and do another increase into that stitch with gray. And last time, over to gray, boom, switch over to beige, boom, and finish up that increase. Okay. Now we can cut this gray. We won't need it for a sec. Pull it away. We'll come back to it on the next round. But we can finish up round 2 here by just doing a last increase right there. Okay. So that's going to be the end of round 2. For round 3, it's again going to be the exact same thing as the last time. You'll do a single crochet in the first, and then an increase in the next, all the way around. But there's going to be 2 different distinct details. One is the color changes. We're going to do color changes again right over here. And the second is we're going to do something that I call a mini peacock for like the window thing, the gun window, or I'm not really sure what it is, which is right here. So start by doing a single crochet and then an increase into the next six stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then in the next one we want to do a single crochet, so start with the single crochet. Then we're going to get our gray, because we're going to do the same thing where we're alternating between gray and beige. So pull through with our beige. So the next stitch is going to be an increase, and the first one we want dark gray on the bottom. So I change over to dark gray, go into the next stitch and pull through, and then pull through with our beige, and then finish up that increase with all beige. And then the next stitch is going to be a single crochet, but we still want to do it in the dark gray because you want to alternate back and forth. So dark gray, switch over to beige, and then we'll do an increase in the next. First one we want beige, and then now we want it to be dark gray. Okay, to finish up that increase. And then we'll single crochet around it and cut that dark gray. Pull that through. Okay. Now it'll be an increase in the next stitch. And now let's do that window. It's called a mini peacock. I At least that's what I call it. Basically, you chain 2, 1, 2, and then into the first chain you made right here, into that back loop again. You want to go in there, get our hook in there, and do a slip stitch. Yarn over and pull through. Okay? And now just finish up by doing a single crochet in the first and an increase in the next. Okay, now just like the bottom, we're gonna do those 2 pointy things. So if you don't remember, it's chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Work into the back loops, skip 2 stitches, go into the third, do a single crochet, then a half double crochet, and then you'll do a decrease by working into this stitch and then into the next stitch and pulling that through both, and then make a slip stitch and do it again. Chain 4, 1, 2, a 3, a 4. Okay, working into the back loops, skip the first 2, go into the third, do a single crochet, do a half double crochet, and then do a decrease, working into that one you did the slip stitch into the next stitch, and then finish up by doing a slip stitch in the last. Okay, so that's going to be the top of it. We're going to go ahead and sew it together. Now cut leaving like with a long end, like that's probably pretty good. Now before I continue, let me really talk about club crochet. So we'll put these to the side for just a second. So there we go. So Club Crochet is a subscription service for crocheters. Basically how it works is you pay $5 a month and you get a new pattern every other week and access to all the previous week's worth of patterns in the library. And you can bump it up for $10 more and you'll get a kit mailed to your door every month with one of the pattern's materials. So you'll get all the yarn, the eyes, the stuffing, everything that you're going to need to make whatever that pattern is. We also crochet it live together. Every pattern that I put on there, I do a live stream where we can crochet it together. You can ask me any questions that you have. Yeah. The patterns all have full video tutorials, just like this one, with the rounds, me explaining every little part. You can ask any questions that you have. And each of the patterns, each month, is based on a theme that's voted on by the live stream audience. You don't have to be a Club Crochet member to go to the live streams, by the way. The audience voted this month for space themed. So I, of course, went straight to Star Wars and made Yoda and Princess Leia are 2 patterns that I just added to Club Crochet this month. I'm also going to add some other ones this month for space, like a tiny rocket. And the last bit is that you also get early access to patterns. So Club Crochet members got this pattern for the Millenium Falcon super early. They got it like 2 weeks early. And if you sign up for Club Crochet right now, when this goes live on Club Crochet, you're going to get the pattern that you would get in 2 weeks if you're just subscribed down below for a tiny star. And I make it in a bunch of different sizes. So let's see, I got one more somewhere. Here we go. So yeah, that's Club Crochet. You can check it out at clubcrochet.com, or the link should be in the description down below. All right, so let's get back to our Millenium Falcon here. Now we want to add some detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this this long tail. Remember how we made that extra long tail? I want to thread the needle. We want to add just some like straight lines along the back side. So what I'll do is I'll come out right here. Because the Millenium Falcon has like 2 like posts along the sides of it. So that's what we're adding right now. So go down through this increase, like right through the center of it. Come back up. We're going to do that twice. Go back down. Okay, so that's going to add one post, and let's do it to the other side. Come out right here. And then go down through, let's say, this one. Okay. All right. Now we're going to double knot this to one more thing that we're going to make for the detail. So actually grab a little bit of the beige yarn and cut it. We're going to make the satellite. So like there's like this satellite dish on the top of the Millennium Falcon. So what you want to do is thread a needle with some of this gray yarn, and we're going to do a bullion knot. So if you don't know what that is, you're about to learn. So go through this stitch close to the top. Pull it almost all the way through, about to there. Okay? I know it's getting confusing because there's so many different strands. Let's pull these two to the side. Be quick. Just so it's easier to see. Okay. So you pull it through like that. Okay? Now what you want to do is you want to take the needle, put it up along the front, and you want to wrap the yarn around it 3 times. Okay? Hold it up and away from the piece, and place the needle into a stitch right over to the left of where that first one came out. Pull it almost all the way through, about that far, like almost all the way through, and then grab the tail right here and pull it tight along with this end. Pull them both kind of tight, and then grab the knot right here and pull it through. Okay. Now it looks like we're getting a little tangled, so I'm going to make sure that none of it's knotted in the back. Get all the yarn untangled. There we go. And now you want to pull it, whoop, there. You want to pull it tight so that that loop goes through. There we go. And that bullion knot is just supposed to resemble that small satellite. You can't really do too much when it's this tiny, so this is the best that I came up with for that satellite thing. Pull it kind of tight. And now I'm going to double knot it in the back. 1. And 2. And then I'm also going to take one of these ends and double knot it to that tail thing that we made, which I don't even know where it is now, actually. Wait, where? Oh, here it is. It's this thing. So we'll just double knot it to that. And I'm not going to tie it too tight, just enough so that it doesn't come loose. Okay. And let's cut all these little ends on the inside. So I bet you didn't realize how messy it was on the inside of a Millennium Falcon. Actually, you might have if you watched Star Wars. Alright, so the last bit here is going to be sewing the entire piece together. So that's going to be super easy. You'll be surprised with how simple this is going to be. So to start, I'm going to take one of these ends. Let's grab this one on our bottom part. And I'm going to stick it out, come out of the piece. Like, let's go like right here on the tail. And right, or let's go right through the center, actually. We're going to double knot to the end of that, at the end. And I'm going to cut this other piece because we don't need it, and it's just going to get in our way. So grab our bottom half, and we want to line it up with our top half. Okay? Like that. So there's the bottom half. Flip it over, and there's the top half. Okay? And you see how they're like belly to belly? That's important. Try to make sure it does that. So now let's thread our long tail end here. Okay. Now, sewing it together is only slightly tricky. The important thing to know is that you want to work into only these top loops. Okay, so you only want to work in the top loops on this side and the top loops on this side. So it's like that. Okay, because that'll give it a sweet border, good border. So start by going right through where we made that first slip stitch. Make sure it's lined up pretty well. And come through one of these top loops. Pull it all the way through very slowly. Okay. And now we're just going to go all the way around working only in these top loop to top loop like that. Okay, go over to the next one. And that's going to be pretty simple until you come up to the very tip of it. But even then, it's not going to be too complicated. You just keep on keeping on. Ooh. And if you were curious, which most people are not, my favorite Star Wars movie is The Emperor Strikes Back. Or not, sorry. Wait. Did I? Sorry, I thought I messed up. Okay, or I do really like Return of the Jedi too. I wasn't a big fan of Rogue One. It was a little too confusing. I liked it the second time I watched it more than the first time. There's just too much going on for me. And make sure to let me know if you have any questions for this pattern. Oops, we lost the end. Make sure to let me know in the comments if you have any questions for this pattern, or if you have any ideas for future patterns or future themes that you'd like to see me make. Last month's theme was Pokemon, so I made Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander, and Eevee. And all those patterns are available on Club Crochet too. Okay, so when you get to the to our window thing right here, you want to work around it. Don't work into it. Okay, you want to kind of skip it. Go right here. Into the next one right here. Okay. And just keep, you can kind of see how it's just lining up. Just make sure to go in all of these front loops. And before you finish, don't forget to stuff it in. I'll do that in just a second. Okay. See, it gets kind of confusing at the top here because there's weird stitches. It'll get very confusing when you get to that center part. I mean, not very confusing, but more confusing. And if you know how to do this pattern, by the way, if you're wondering, if you're worried about Club Crochet and you were thinking, well, I don't know if I know how to do this patterns because I'm only a beginner crocheter. If you can finish this pattern, then you can 100% make Club Crochet patterns. Those are even less complicated than this, and they all include video tutorials just like this one. Oopsies, sorry, I didn't realize I was so out of frame. Whoopsies. Okay, now before I finish this up and sew this part up, I'm going to open it up a little bit, grab a little bit of stuffing, and no, I don't normally keep my stuffing in little bags like that. It's just that I was making some Club Crochet kits earlier, and that's how I add the stuffing for the kits. Okay, so you just really need that much. You barely need any. I can put a little bit more, but I don't want it to be fat. I want it to be very flat. Okay. I was thinking about making a baby mobile with this pattern. My friend's having a kid, and he asked what he wanted, or asked what he wanted me to crochet for the kid, because I'm going to crochet probably crochet a lot of things, probably a blanket and stuff, but he said, oh, you should make a mobile and make it space themed. And so when people voted for space, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going Star Wars. Okay. Almost done here. And there's going to be just a little bit extra of pattern left. There's a couple more things that you might forget. Okay. So when you come to the end here, oh gosh, I keep coming out of the screen because I'm looking over the camera. When you come to the end here, go in and come out through that belly right here where that other tail is, so we can double knot it. Okay. Double knot it right here. 1 and 2. And we can go ahead and cut it. And we'll stuff that little knot in there. If I can. I like using the back of the needle for stuffing. Okay, so the main part of Millennium Falcon is done. Now you just need a couple more things. First off, we need a tail light. So grab our light blue. You really don't need much at all. Where is it? There it is. You just need about that much. Cut it. It's almost like a teal, like a neon teal blue. Okay. And again, I'm just going to come through the back part, like right here. Let's go like right there. And come out right here on like the butt. And I just want to keep going across like that. Across that side. Go in. Oops. Let's do this one right here. And then come out through the top. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Keep going back and forth to add the back like that. And then we'll come out through, let's see, right there. And if you like this video, please take a second to like it down below. It helps more people find it. And then if you would like to get notified when I come out with new patterns, like that little star or rocket ship and stuff like that, make sure to subscribe down below and hit that notification bell, and that'll keep you notified when I post new ones. And if you're not really a big YouTuber, consider joining my mailing list at louisloops.com, and you'll get notified whenever I post a new pattern from there. Okay, so the very last thing you want to do is defeat the Empire. Make sure to be careful of AT-ATs. They are, or AT-ATs. They're pretty scary. And the best way to take care of them is to wrap around their legs and they will fall over. But other than that, be careful in space. And thanks for watching. And again, make sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you want to get the pattern for a miniature star early, check out Club Crochet. You also get patterns like Yoda and Princess Leia, as well as some Pokemon and stuff like that. It's all just $5 a month, and you can cancel whenever you'd like. Yeah, so thanks for watching. And if you're looking for some other patterns, I have a pattern for a Death Star, which I came out with last week, and for a what's it called? A twin ion engine. What is that called? Well, whatever. Oh, a TIE fighter. There we go. Got it. I knew what it stood for, but I couldn't remember the name. I have a pattern for a TIE fighter, which I have a link for here, so it makes me look even stupider. Thanks for watching. Bye.